I once got in trouble with a partner of mine because we went to the sex shop and we brought all these toys and his best friend came in, a girl. And I was like, oh my God, you want to see what we bought? And I just threw all of our toys on the bed and I was like, this thing goes here and this thing goes here. And he was like, he was so mad at me. And I was like, she needs to know. She should know what gay guys do, you know? Like but I think it caused friction with me and him, but it certainly created a better bond with me and her. Because she was like, this guy's crazy. He's
But why
grown.
he was not living in his truth. He
I
was
think
struggling with
I
it.
think he probably felt the same dynamic that somebody would feel with their sister.
Yeah.
And sex toys being thrown on. But in my family, we're so open about everything. Like we're so open about everything that even if it was my sister, I'd be like, girl, don't do the butt plugs. They're just not worth it.
Tell us about a moment where you wish you would have said something and you didn't. There's nothing better than this. Say what you mean. 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 Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Aida Rodriguez, and thank you for joining me on another episode of Say What You Mean, where some of your favorite people stop by to say those things they wish they would have said, and a time they should have said them and didn't, but they're here to say it now. As per usual, I like to start with my own Say What You Mean. I feel like as per usual is a lot, so per usual. Anyway, I'm thinking out loud. But this one is a little tender for me because it happened recently. But a couple of months ago, I went to the dry bar to get my hair done. And the young woman who washed my hair into a bunch of knots. I guess she put conditioner or shampoo in while she was massaging my hair. I got a scalp massage. And my hair was so tangled. I had like these knots that it took 9 hours for several employees, up to 5, to untangle my hair. And I was performing niceness. I don't know why I was inclined. I felt inclined to say I'm not a diva. I don't behave like that. I'm not one of those people. But as a result, I ended up losing a lot of hair, which is why I had to get a haircut. And the people at Dry Bar, not the women who took care of me while I was there, because there was a manager that drove in from Santa Monica. They were trying their best to untangle my hair without me losing as much hair as possible. But the upper management who we emailed and complained to, they didn't respond. And so I feel like I should say something because I felt inclined not to say something because I want to make sure that I don't behave like a diva. But you're wrong, Dry Bar, and somebody owes me an email, or if not, you're going to owe my attorney an email. So there, I got that off my chest. And I just want to say you can be nice and kind, and that doesn't mean you should let people do things wrong you and that you got to tolerate it for the sake of being nice. That's usually how a lot of bad things happen to good people. Moving on. My next guest who is here is also someone who I am lucky to call my friends, someone that we share a birthday, we share ADHD. Mm-hmm. We both share an intense, amazing love for our grandmothers, and our grandmothers are now together, holding hands in the afterlife. And he's someone that I came to meet through Pero Like when I was doing videos with BuzzFeed, one of the very prominent voices on the internet for the Latina spectrum, who speaks to not just issues of being queer and being Latina, but also just being a human being in all of our complexities. So please welcome to the show, Curly.
Whoa! Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here.
That was such a good intro. That was so nice.
Thank you. It's true though, right?
I also had to hold back and being like, they either owe you an apology or like a good hair bundle or something. Like or some hair or something.
Or
like,
some money.
Wait, how did they just like got a towel over your head and just...
No, the girl was doing a scalp massage, but she was doing it with conditioner or shampoo, I think it was. And then the hair just kept getting tangled, but I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
So by the time she was done, the damage was done.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, I have videos. I have pictures.
I'm never a diva ever. I'm usually really cool, really nice. Like anything that happens, I'm really chill. There was only one time right before I had to go on set where we were shooting videos in Houston. Mm-hmm. And similar thing, they had washed my hair, but you have to know how to wash like curly hair or textured hair. Like you can't do the same that you would do with like straight hair. So once they were finished washing my hair, they put me under the towels. They like did that whole thing. And then for me in my hair, I have to have a heavy cream or a heavy hair thing and have to go curl by curl. And they didn't have that. They only had like little like pumadas or whatever they had. They sent me out there looking like all my curls were broken. Everything was super frizzy. I cried. Like I literally was like, I can't go on camera like this. Like I don't want to. And they're like, do you want us to do it again? Like we'll fix it for you. And I was like, if that's okay, I don't want to bother. Like, can
Yeah,
you do
why
it
do we
again?
do that
But then they did the exact same thing
again?
again. So I was like, at this point, it's fine. It's okay. Like Maya was there. Maya, they put her in two little braids, and so she was like happy. Like she's like, oh, I'm a little cowgirl in her little braids. And then Claudia was there, our other producer. She was there, and they like blow dried her and gave her like a cute little curl. And I was like, me over there.
Yeah, your hair is really, really curly.
And my hair's
like-
so right now. I'm like, I put like a lot of product in just for you, so I can get that
oh,
tight.
nice. But why do you think we do that? Why do you think we're like, I don't want to be a diva? Do you think it has to do with being children of immigrants?
Yes, I think it's three things. I think it's like being children of immigrants. I think, also I think feminine people, queer people, and people of color are taught to kind of be in the shadows sometimes, right? Like my family used to clean. My family immigrated here from El Salvador in the 80s and the 90s. And my tia Mila came first, and my tia Mila made friends with all the hotels and motels up and down Sunset. And she got a lot of people their first jobs when they arrived here, undocumented. And when I was growing up with the women that would clean houses or clean hotels, when we would go to people's houses, no vas a tocar nada. Don't touch nothing. No vas a pedir por nada. Don't ask for nothing. If they ask you if you're thirsty, you're not thirsty. If they ask you if you're hungry, you're not hungry. And I think that a lot of times that kind of goes into other parts of our lives where we're like, I don't want to bother. I'm so sorry. I was in the back of like a what are those like party buses with Julissa Prado from Brizos Curls, and it was so hot the AC back there broke. We were all suffocating. Had it been my shuttle, I would have been like, it's okay. Like we're almost there. Nobody worry. Julissa Prado is like this crazy Pisces woman. She literally up above is like the emergency exit. It says don't touch. It'll sound off the alarm. She opened that thing. She was like, I don't give a shit. We got air, and I was like, how do you do that? Why don't I have that? So I don't know.
Why do you think she has it?
Well, I think she told me that her mom, who's also a Mexican immigrant, a Latina, was like, los que pagan manda.
Oh, okay.
Those who are paying are in charge. So she's like, girl, I'm paying. And I'm like, damn, I wish
boss.
I wish I had that. That's also Pisces energy too. Pisces get very like protective of their people.
I love that you always break it down to this zodiac thing. It's like, because like
just
before,
for fun.
because you imagine your abuelas like back in the day. Oh, the reason why he's beating me because he's definitely
he's a narcissist,
a Scorpio. It's amazing. Yeah. So, and listen, when you were on Vida, right? You're an
Yeah, I
actor,
did Vida,
and you were on a television show on a major network. How was that working on there? How did you feel? Did you feel that you took that with you on set? That I don't want to bother. I don't want to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really interesting too because I had auditioned to play myself on the show.
Okay.
So I went in as Curly, auditioning for the part of Curly to play Curly on the show. So
Right.
they kept my name throughout the entire process. But I didn't want to like bother. I'm always just so happy to be in the room, which is great to a certain extent. I'm so happy to be invited to the table. When I started at BuzzFeed, I started stocking their sodas and their snacks and serving their lunches.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. So like I didn't get hired as a personality. Like I used to take care of all those people that you would see on the internet. I used to be like, oh yeah, let me set up, let me clean for you. Do you guys need anything? If they had a guest coming over, I would be the one that would greet them and get them settled in. And so I think that being able to suddenly be behind a camera on a major set, being like, how did I go from serving lunches to playing myself? Like, how did all this happen? So I'm always happy. But if you're, like even like green rooms sometimes, Vida had a good green room, but like sometimes you get a good green room and I'm like, it's fine. This corner with cockroaches and a leaky pipe is good for me.
Oh,
I'm
in
okay.
comedy, the green rooms they can be sad and scary.
And a bag of Skittles, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like there's no...
Yeah, I think that I go from one extreme to the other because I feel passive aggressive sometimes. Like I feel like I don't want to be that person, and then I'm like you, I need this,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
because that, but there are some people who so comfortably feel like
I
they
know.
deserve, and I'm working on that.
I'm
Like,
working on that too. I don't know how they do that. I
yeah.
wish I'm trying to learn in real time. I think that like a lot of times with gay men too, like I think that women of color have this problem where like they can't be sassy. They can't be too like you can't be too much. And sometimes with queer people, it's like, oh, that sassy gay guy. And you're like, I'm not trying to, I'm just chilling. Not
I wouldn't classify you as sassy though.
somebody online said that I was oh my god, they said that they were pleasurably offended by the way that I give my thoughts because I try to be. Or
Somebody was masturbating to your talk.
imagine, I would love it. I mean, I try to be. That's my jam. I'm so like, yeah. There's no such thing as unsolicited D pics in my universe.
Oh, you okay? Is it okay for you to get a D pic?
Hell yeah, I love them.
We
but
can
wait,
say dick pics too.
it's different than like girls, you know. But like me, I also have one, so I'm like, I want to see them all. They're like snowflakes. They're like Pokemon.
I don't know if I was gonna say I don't know if I want a vagina in my DMs.
I
and
would
have
be okay
one.
with seeing vaginas too. I also don't get so a lot of gay guys are like, oh, vaginas. I'm like, yeah, what do they look like? I had no idea. I still don't know if I know where the clit is. And I know every time I say that, women go like, neither do straight men, so you're fine. But I'm like, I don't know how.
So
I mean,
are you one of those queer men that has never been with a woman?
I have been with women,
Oh,
everything
yeah.
except for actual penetration. How
You-
much can
you
I
can
say?
talk, you can talk.
Okay, yeah, everything except for like insertion.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it. I liked it. I think the act of like it connecting to another human being is really beautiful and fun and cool. The only thing is that I don't like that when I hook up with a woman, the gender roles sometimes come into play where I can feel like the girl get kind of weak in my arms, and I'm like, "Ah," like I'm used to like a man underneath,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
getting weak under my arms, you know, like I don't know.
That's so interesting. Me too.
Wait, you don't like when or you like getting weak or?
No. You know what? I think with us, with women, because I just said I like a masculine man to
Yeah.
someone who was like, I like all men, and I was like, I had to really think about that, and I know the younger people have a more acceptance for like different fluidity within.
Yes, yeah,
and I've
yeah.
been indoctrinated into like that. My man has to perform masculinity.
Yes,
But
we
it-
talked about this. I like that too.
Yeah, but I don't think it's indoctrination. I think I'm just naturally attracted to men who are more masculine.
I think so. I mean, and so is my pudans. Like that's what we like. That's what
Okay.
both of us like.
Yeah.
But we were also talking about like where we grow up and just culturally what we like too, right? Like my ideals of beauty, I grew up predominantly with black and brown people. So like even the way that we beautify is just so different, right? Like a guy with a cute fade is so sexy to me. Sideburns, I'm like, who has sideburns? Why do you have sideburns? That's so
like
weird to me.
If
you
a
know?
wolf, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Like with women with
A
the
wolf
baby
man.
hairs and the nails, I'm like, or the gold, like I'm like, that's beautiful to me, right? So like if there used to be a big gay club out here called Circus and Arena.
Oh damn.
And it was predominantly black and brown queer kids that would go that liked hip hop, right? And we didn't go to WeHo. That wasn't our scene. We liked being with each other and we liked dancing to the Ying Yang Twins and Missy and Sierra, whatever it was in the moment. And I loved it when Shorty from South Central or whatever would grab me by the wrist and be like, where you going? I'm like, home with you. Where we going? You know, like now, you know, a guy will be like, oh, can I, what do they say? Do I have the,
That's
what-
problematic.
no, consent. Can I have consent to kiss you? I'm like, no, you can't have consent for nothing anymore. Like, that's so, like, just get it. We used to call it rushing. Oh, like, he rushed me or I rushed them. Like, where we're a little buzz and you're at the bar and you're like, oh, you just look
Get
into their
canceled,
eyes.
Curly. Tell it. I like it.
Now you can't get canceled, and it's only cute to get rushed when it's someone who's cute to doing it to you.
Yeah,
Because if
yeah.
it's some ugly fool, you're like, don't rush me, you're gonna get socked in the neck, right?
And you're like, this is problematic. Yeah.
But if it's some 6'4" hot dude
Okay.
rushing my ass,
Don't rush me, because you're going to jail. You're going to jail if you rush me.
rush me, don't rush her.
So, can you think of a time where there was something you wish you would have said and you didn't?
You know, it's crazy because you can go like really funny, or you could be like, oh, I was dating a guy, we were doing really well, but his breath smelled every single date, and I wish I could have been like, you're fantastic, but I just can't take your breath, and I think this is our last date.
That happened?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think this happened to me twice, where I'm like, I think our chemistry is just a little off. Or you could be like, damn, I was in the room and somebody said something to somebody else, and I wish I would have known how to stand up for them, or I wish I would have recognized a microaggression at that time that I just didn't know that's what it was, you know? But I think that like when I do recognize things and I do want to speak up, I usually do, but I try to have like tact with it, and I try to be like, how can I tell you what it is that I'm trying to say in a way that will invite conversation, but not offend you and not make you like, well, what the fuck? And da 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 da. Da. Like, I'll ask you something like, what was your, how did you get to like the point where you felt comfortable enough to say that to me? Do you know what I mean? Or like something like that. Like, or like, I can see that you're upset, but like, why are you this upset? Like, what else is happening? What is that rooted in?
That's therapy talk right there. That's how did that work out at that club, the circus and grind club that you was going to with the Yin Yang twins?
Well, that was when I still used to drink and do drugs too, right? So like, oh, it didn't matter back then. We were all like, the bathrooms were like had mirrors on top, so like you could just look up and just see what everybody was doing in all the bathrooms. So like, totally different world. I wasn't there being like, what's going on? What are we feeling? What are our emotions? You know?
So do people in your circle who may not quite be where you are evolution wise, do they say things like, oh, Curly, really?
Yeah.
Microaggression, Curly?
Well, I feel like I have a mixture of a lot of friends where like sometimes we're very like, I'm the one that's like, maybe don't say that word. Maybe let's use this other word.
Okay.
And then I have other friends that are like telling me that, where I'm like, oh my God, I can't say a damn thing without offending.
Same.
You know what I mean? Like I was like saying that for me, the best revenge is not my paper. My best revenge is if I look better than my ex.
Okay.
And somebody was like, well, what about if this happened to them and da-da-da. I'm like, that's not how I meant it. I just meant like, is he losing his hair or not? You know, like, am I still the thinner one? Like, that's all I care about, you know? But like, then people are like, what about the baldies? Like, that's gonna offend them. And I'm like,
oh my God. But you know what, first of all, everybody has to be offended. That's just life. That it's inevitable, right? Everybody's going to be offended.
Yes. I was thinking about that too. I was like, gay people used to have like the best sense of humor, and I'm always like, if you can take a dick, you can take a joke. I don't know.
We heard that at the comedy club before.
Yeah. Like,
and
what?
Listen, you can't say that anymore because now, you know, it's because now they say it to women, and it's just
women. If you could take a joke, you could take.
We can take a dick.
It doesn't apply for. I think that it doesn't have the same.
No.
Je ne sais quoi.
No, it doesn't.
You know,
it doesn't. It's kind of corny when I hear men say
when
that.
men say to, but that's the whole thing because it's like who's saying it, right? If a cis het man is gonna make a joke like that at women.
Yeah.
No, bro.
I have a question. What is Dead and Buried?
Dead and Buried is a show that I have with PBS.
Okay, congratulations.
And it was about, thank you. It's about basically like the death community, right? Like how people on TikTok, like there's death talk, like death doulas or hospice nurses sharing content. Also just like funeral stuff, right? Like the funeral industry is so much money, but like for what reason? Like, even if you want to have like a natural burial, like if you want to be buried in like something like linen or like cotton, that costs more money. If you want to be thrown at sea, you can't do these certain things. Like they want you to pay for the box in the concrete, in the section of whatever land, like they want your money. So things like that, like we talk about like all the different facets of what death means, or like if it's humane to have like a planned death, like people who are sick and like are just like, I don't want to live like this anymore.
Euthanasia,
yeah. And so like just talking about death openly, because I always say like we can all have different paths in life, but that's the one place that we're all going to. And what's interesting is that we were talking about our abuelas in the beginning, and I was talking, my abuela passed away. I was talking to my bruja in Mexico, and she was telling me like, oh, your abuela's gonna send you some work. And I kid you not, the next week, somebody who had seen my content with my grandma and talking about her death was looking for a host for this show. And they were like, we think you'd be perfect because I can talk about death in a way that is sincere and respectful.
Yeah, you
but
can.
I also have fun with it. I'm like, yeah, when I die, just throw me in the neighbor's yard. Like, who cares? Like, I'm not gonna need this.
Yeah.
And they're loud. So
I love it. I think that's funny, and that's the way to go. Can you connect me to your bruja?
yes, oh my God, she's amazing. She will tell you, she'll tell you like, oh, so and so's gonna hit you up in 6 weeks, and 6 weeks on the dot.
Okay, I'm calling
She's
that
good.
bruja.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a segment called "Should Have Kept That,"
Okay.
and I'm gonna share a story with you, and then
Okay.
you tell me should the person have kept this to themselves.
Okay.
All right.
I'm so dead.
Wow, you still talking about it? Look at this perfect pun.
Yeah.
I'm so dead. My boyfriend took me to meet his family. He was very nervous. His family is very old-fashioned. He thought my personality may be a little too much for them. I assumed that families love me. Everything was going well. We were laughing, drinking. His sister cracked a joke about my boyfriend's little ears not being proportionate to the rest of his body. I said, you should see his. We are still together, but I've not been invited back to the house.
She has been or she hasn't been?
She said she has not been invited back to the house. But they are.
I'm that girl. I would like, first of all, I'm gonna stand up for my man, right? Like, and second of all, like, I'm gonna show you who I am so that you know who I am and we can have that banter. Like,
That's a good joke, though. I don't think she
great-
literally meant that he had a little dick.
Oh, see, I took it as she was saying like his ears might be small, but his dick is.
Oh,
That's how I took it. So
okay.
she was saying like, oh, little ears, little.
No, maybe you got it right. Maybe I got it wrong.
Yeah, I don't know that I would like clown my man in front of his family though. Do you know what I mean? But if his sister was coming for his little ears, I'd be like, his ears might be little, but pero lo que no tiene aquí, tiene aquí. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Okay.
Like, I would defend him, but I once got in trouble with a partner of mine because we went to the sex shop and we brought all these toys, and his best friend came in, a girl. And I was like, oh my God, you want to see what we bought? And I just threw all of our toys on the bed. And I was like, this thing goes here and this thing goes here. And he was like, he was so mad at me. And I was like, she needs to know. She should know what gay guys do. You know, like but I think it caused friction with me and him, but it certainly created a better bond with me and her. Because she was like, this guy's crazy.
But why he was not living in his truth. He was struggling with
I
it.
think he probably felt the same dynamic that somebody would feel with their sister.
Yeah.
And, sex toys being thrown on. But in my family, we're so open about everything. Like, we're so open about everything that even if it was my sister, I'd be like, girl, don't do the butt plugs. They're just not worth it. Do you know what I mean? Like, we would be, that's how we talk. Like, that's how we talk at our Thanksgiving dinners. I'm like, my parents didn't come under here on like with the luggage underneath buses and cross desert for us to be afraid of like a dirty joke, you know? So it's,
Well, I would challenge you and say, take that with you when you got to tell people that they're not up your hair because they're not putting it in the right. You remember that desert where you like, and I'm gonna remember it too. My father got deported twice when a tangling my hair and giving me dreadlocks. All right, so Say It With Your Chest is a section of the show where we ask you these lightning round of questions to get to know you a little better.
dope. I'm excited.
Smash or pass avocado toast?
Oh, smash.
Would you rather Star Wars or Star Trek?
Sailor Moon. Neither one of those.
Oh.
Those are man space. I want girl space.
Okay. How old were you when you went to your first school dance?
My first school dance? Boring in high school, but my first club was the Arena when I was 12 years old.
You went at 12?
Yeah, I was turning 13 and my sister and her boyfriend snuck me in. I think they slicked my hair back so I could look a little older. And then they just snuck me into the club and I danced. I think DJ Irene was DJing house and went to my first rave when I was 14. You know,
you were living, Curly.
When I tell you, it was just living it up. That's why I'm tired. That's why I don't do. That's why I'm like, let's take me out to eat. That's all I want to do.
I get it. It's good. I mean, I guess it's healthy to have, because.
When was your first dance?
I mean, I went to a dance when I was in 6th grade, but my uncle had to go with me because I wasn't allowed to go by myself. My Uncle Davey was the one that used to have to tag along to everything. Yeah. My Uncle Raymond went with me on my first date.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. I think I read that.
Yeah. He left, but my mom didn't know that. But yeah, I was never allowed to go anywhere by myself.
I don't think I would let my daughter go anywhere by herself either. I'd be like,
Don't. You got to listen. I went from a dance to having sex and getting pregnant like the fourth time I had sex because I didn't know what was happening in
See,
the
I feel
world.
like I would do that too. I went from like, being a sweet little innocent person and like snorting cocaine at work and doing the whole thing.
Oh,
I know
you
what
always
goes
gotta
down.
beat me. Why, like,
You never snorted anything?
You didn't snort. I've never snorted cocaine.
You've never snorted anything your whole life?
No,
Oh,
I
you
haven't.
haven't.
I've never done hard drugs, but I have so much addiction in my family.
Yeah.
I smoked weed before. I had an edible and it went terribly
I don't
awry.
fuck with edibles. Yeah.
And I ended up in the hospital and I had to get 2 shots because I had 2 panic attacks.
Yeah.
And it didn't work for me.
I'm so sorry that happened. It's not your fault. It's edibles' fault. They're crazy
No,
these days.
well, they are unregulated.
We used to call it chronic back in the day, like in the early 2000s. And like you could smoke a whole joint by yourself and be fine. You would be just like paint, make some music, do something, go outside for a walk. Now you have
know.
one little piece of an edible and you're...
He said we used to call it chronic back in the day. I was in this. He was like, he's so prolific.
you
Snoop Dogg
say
and Dr. Dre have a whole album
No,
about it.
if you ask somebody now, like, oh, chronic, they're like, what's that?
Yeah.
What was the other hash?
I don't like the new people. Hash is hash. I don't like the new people sometimes because then they try to be, what's that? Like,
Yeah.
shut up.
But that he's like Jessica. He's like Mary, like older terms,
Yeah, Mary Jane, my uncle. I remember my uncle.
Yeah.
Because Rick James had a song called Mary Jane.
Oh, yeah.
And one of my uncles thought it was about weed, and then the other one was like, no, that's a and I was like, maybe both of y'all are wrong. Fight or flight, an 8-year-old yellow belt.
An 80-year-old an 8-year-old yellow belt? Like that's karate?
Yeah. Are you going to fight or flight?
Oh, I'll probably fight. There's an 8-year-old. I can't fight for shit. What the am I gonna do? I can fight with my words and sock that kid in the neck, but that's all I got.
If you could say something to your favorite teacher, what would it be?
Oh man, I still talk to my favorite teacher actually.
Oh yeah? Wow, that's so nice.
Yeah, Miss Pumetti was like my history teacher in high school, but she made all the history lessons like chisme. So she always would be like, "Can you believe that Napoleon's little did all of this?" And she would throw her markers, and you never felt like you were learning about history. You always felt like you were learning about your telenovela, which was world history. And then she also was a Virgo. So of course, I'm a Virgo energy. So we just like hit it off. And
what's her name?
Miss Terry Pumetti.
So if you could say something to her, what would you say? Look into the camera.
I love you already. I tell you in the DMs all the time.
Must be nice.
And here you are again on camera to tell you that I love you. You're amazing.
Aw, that's so great.
Yeah, she's dope.
So what else is going on? Tell everybody what's going on in the world, the wonderful world of curly.
Oh man, like professional stuff where I have my podcast with Maya, which you were just on. It's called the Super Secret Bestie Club.
Yes.
It's basically where we shoot the and we talk about fun, whatever. We say that imagine going into a treehouse and with your best friends, and what would you talk about there? Like, I'm kind of the dirty one. She's a little bit more conservative. I'm the one. She's the best. And it's such a good contrast. And then
that's an iHeart.
It's an iHeart podcast. Yeah, Sonoro and Mi Cultura. And then, I'm always trying to work on, we have some fun projects. I have some fun projects coming up, but I don't want to talk about them yet until like I'm in front of that camera and doing it. Because, sometimes like, especially with all this stuff, you're like, we're going to do it. And then it doesn't happen.
Yep.
Personally, though, I'm obsessed with Wicked. I'm going to go watch it for the 3rd time today. Have you seen it yet?
Yes, it was great.
Wait, why am I going to go watch it for the 3rd time?
Good.
It's so good.
I'm going to watch it again. It was really good.
It kind of activated me a little bit, though. It kind of made me want to like text some exes.
Yeah, I'm like, it did not make me want to text an ex. It made me want to jump on a broom and fly the away. I was like, what?
I have a bone to pick with you, sir.
I thought it was amazing, and I thought Cynthia was phenomenal, and I thought Ariana was great. And I don't want to hear anybody tell me about how they think that this is from the devil. I've saw these videos with people saying that is demonic, and I'm like, y'all choose and pick what y'all want to be demonic while y'all doing demonic yourselves.
Exactly.
And it's like balance. It's actually such a great narrative about where we are today, how a black woman or green woman's narrative has been put out there that she is bad when she's good. And this white woman who is the bad one is seen as this, this light amongst the people.
Yeah.
And then there's this white man controlling everything, controlling the narrative. And he mad at the black lady because she don't want to participate in oppressing the animals.
Exactly.
How could you not see that?
And the music's really good too.
Oh, it's. I mean,
Have you seen the full like show like on?
I watched it. I didn't see it live, but I did watch
Okay.
the.
So you know what happens at the end and stuff too.
Yeah, I don't want to think about it.
It's so. I mean, it gets really beautiful.
So defy gravity at every turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for
being
having
here.
me. That
I'm
was so
glad
much
you came.
fun.
It's always fun with
That
you.
came, that was so fast. I knew
Yeah.
it would be. It was like the minute I sit down, we're gonna be like.
But we like to keep it like fast and good. So I want to say thank you for joining me. My name is Aida Rodriguez. This is Say What You Mean. We want to invite you to follow us on social media at SWYM Pod on all social media platforms. If you are listening, please hit the subscribe button if you're on Spotify or Apple. If you are watching, please hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to give us your rating and your review. And we will see you next time on Say What You Mean.